What's going on, crypto traders and investors? It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ Stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Today is Saturday, May 10th. Hope you're well, and hope you have a great weekend. In this video, we're going to do another rapid-fire news update. This time it's going to be from May 3rd to the 9th, and again, it's not a deep dive detail. It's just a high-level overview in case you missed it. Before we get to it, make sure to smash the like. If you're new, you can subscribe, tick the bell, all that good stuff, and you'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. And as always, this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. You can also follow us over on X, formerly Twitter. Handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. So this was an exciting update. Came probably the biggest news that happened last week, and really in the whole sector, is that we have the SEC finally capitulating. We have them backing down. Ripple wins. End of story. There's a little bit less, a couple of I's left to be dotted and T's left to be crossed, but essentially the settlement letter has been filed officially by the SEC. They acknowledged that they would like to just settle with $50 million. That's a far cry down from $1.2 billion that they originally asked. And yeah, it was $125 from the judge and then down to $50 million. So $75 million will be returned to Ripple. And then essentially what's going to happen is the judge just has to sign off on it and then remove the injunction, which prevents them from doing institutional sales. And then we'll be able to put that behind us, and then there'll be the full vote from the SEC commissioners is how I understand it, and then it's the end at that point. So it could be another couple of months before all of the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, but it's across the finish line. We just have to be patient here with the formalities. And then also Ripple donated $25 million in RLUSD, their stablecoin, to support U.S. classrooms and teachers. So again, just an absolute, fantastic company. They're just, from every aspect of the industry, they're the Amazon of the industry, in my opinion, of the crypto space. And they're just, they're creating tons of jobs here in Canada as well and around the world. They've been hiring mostly outside of the U.S., but that's all changing now that we have a completely new, crypto-friendly administration. And it's just a company, a world-class company, in my opinion. And I've said for many, many years now that Ripple will be the most valuable company on the planet. It'll be bigger than Google, Amazon, Apple, all of them. And then XRP will be the most valuable digital asset. And they also released their Q1 2025 XRP markets report. So again, Ripple's a private company. They don't have to do this stuff. Like, not only are they, creating jobs and donating money and, contributing to society, not only are they, creating a company and, custody and stable coins and cross-border payments, solving trillion-dollar problems. They're a private company that is super transparent, right? They give you all of this information. They don't have to do that as a private company. And eventually they're going to go public. They'll probably IPO at some point. There'll probably be an announcement, I would think, before some time between now and the end of the year, but definitely before 2026. And then they're more than likely going to go public at some point in 2026, in my opinion. We'll have a complete, just frenzy with regards to IPOs. And like I said, I think it could be the biggest IPO in history. And I do think Ripple will become the biggest company in terms of valuation when it's all said and done. If it's going to take 5, 10, 20 years from now, guaranteed, mark my words, they will be the most valuable company in the planet. And I bet you XRP will be the most valuable digital asset in terms of market cap. Ethereum. They completed the Petra upgrade. So Petra, I think it's called, enabling smart account wallet functionality and staking flexibility. So Ethereum's been on an absolute tear, but it was on an absolute pitfall. So it had tons of downside, and it was just, in my opinion, most of it was technical. But there was some upgrades to this, and Ethereum 2.0 or Ethereum Lite, Vitalik Buterin calls for stripped down redesign. And then there was also another article I saw that in 5 years, maybe Ethereum can be as simple and as basic as Bitcoin. Well, why are we going backwards here? And why is it that after a decade, still trying to kind of figure out and redesign? It's just insane to think about. XRP and Ripple, the company using the digital asset XRP, not to be conflated. XRP doesn't need to be redesigned. It was just designed. It was actually designed by original Bitcoin developers. It's just kind of funny when you think about it. And, what was it? Joe Lubin actually said that Ethereum was a prototype. It's just a test, essentially. And they knew that it wasn't going to be, a long-term solution. Even Bitcoin, you can't do any tokenization on Bitcoin. It doesn't do anything. And the only thing it has is store of value. But arguably, XRP is a better store of value because every transaction, there's a small amount of XRP that's burned, right? So it's deflationary. And the supply is is ever subtracting, right? So it's just funny that after a decade, and you have to remember that Ethereum, Vitalik Buterin got the idea of smart contracts and Ethereum working at Ripple. He was an intern at Ripple working for the company, and then he later left to become the founder and creator of Ethereum, and he got the idea of smart contracts from Ripple. But Ripple didn't want to build that into, they didn't think that, as a main developer and XRP, obviously David Schwartz, the chief technology officer at Ripple, he was one of the co-founders of the XRP ledger, and they had some trade-offs, right? They didn't want to put smart contracts directly on it because then it wouldn't be built for payments, right? There was going to be some pros and cons to that, but hopefully they can get this right. But yeah, Ethereum, I've got some different thoughts about it, but personally, I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. At this point, I think the ship has sailed. Could it hit another $5,000 to $10,000 this cycle potentially? But I just don't think that the reward is worth the risk. Also, Bitwise CIO warns of challenging summer for crypto if Congress fumbles the ball on legislation. And speaking of which, they fumbled it. They might get it back here pretty soon, but we'll see what happens if they can kind of figure some stuff out with regards to political posturing and whatnot. The Senate stablecoin bill lacks vote to pass. Vote is ongoing though. And it didn't get enough votes to pass, but we'll see what happens. They're talking about another kick at the can essentially next week. We'll see if that happens. But I do think there's a good chance that it happens before the end of, they want to get it done before August recess. So I think there's a good chance that it happens between now and then. But realistically, it could happen at any point. And that's going to be the catalyst, in my opinion, that's going to send this market absolutely parabolic. I've got a Bitcoin dominance chart I want to share with you toward the end of this video. Crypto legislation in the U.S., biggest economy in the world, right? Biggest capital markets in the world. Once we get the green light and clear legislation, the banks and the institutions are going to come in. Just the floodgates are going to open up. Also, it's just going to be clear rules of the road, right? You're going to have people coming back from offshore, onshore. It's going to be a crazy time. And then this, SEC delaying Litecoin ETF and request public comments. We know that the XRP ETF was delayed as well till about June. And then the final decision they have is in October. But I think that there's a good chance that we get, crypto legislation and ETFs for altcoins around the same time between now and the end of June. I think is a good time frame and a realistic time frame. And those two catalysts are going to send altcoins absolutely parabolic, and we're going to see a massive altcoin season, in my opinion, because all of these altcoin ETFs are going to get passed. They're going to get approved. There's going to be multiple of them. Like I think there's close to 20 now for XRP alone, and then couple that with crypto legislation. Oh man, it's going to be a fun few months ahead. And then I think it could even, I think we could see one more big push, and then Bitcoin will probably top out. And then somewhere around that 120 to 140K, it'll pull back. We'll see full-blown alt season, right? The first wave of it anyway. And then actually, I would say we're probably already through the first wave. I would say we're more in the corrective wave. Now, then we'll see the third wave. And then, Elliott wave theory, technically speaking, 5 waves, right? So and the macro wave. So right now we're in, I think, macro wave 3. We'll see a huge move, right? And then we'll see a bit of a drop off towards the end of the summer, I think, is the most likely scenario. And again, things change all the time. We'll continue to monitor the charts, but the charts are looking like it's going to see a massive move here soon. And then makes sense to see a little bit of a summer lull, and then into the fall, which is historically, crypto summer usually comes in the winter, right? Like crypto winter just means it's a time of pain, right? So I think crypto winter is going to be in the summer time, and then into the fall, it'll be more like crypto summer where, it just everything is flying. And you're going to see, like I said, gains like you wouldn't even believe. It's going to be uncomfortable looking at some of these projects, how high they're going to go. And the floodgates are really going to open up. So I think, it makes a lot of sense that we get that final 5th wave higher and blow off top into the end of the year, maybe even into, Santa Claus rally first quarter of 2026. I'm not putting that as the most likely scenario, but it's certainly possible. And I think it's going to be fueled by crypto legislation and all of these altcoin ETFs going live. Also, New Hampshire becomes first state to sign Bitcoin reserve bill into law. I have mixed feelings about this. If Bitcoin wasn't at all-time highs, but they're talking about seizing different cryptos and whatnot and Bitcoin and just stockpiling it. So that's not the dumbest idea, I don't think, anyways. But it's only a couple states. Arizona just passed legislation as well to establish Bitcoin reserve. So the second state now joining New Hampshire. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of states that do this. I'd rather see them wait until, a little bit further on down the road once, we kind of have a level playing field. We know that there's been regulatory capture, and Ethereum was given a free pass, Bitcoin was given a free pass, but yet XRP wasn't, right? After 5 years, once we have clear rules of the road and legislation in the US, the biggest economy in the world, and a level playing field for at least a few years, then we'll see who the real winner is, right? Not whenever you have all this mass marketing machine and favoritism going on to all these, projects, and the opposite to some projects. So I just think that we need to tread carefully here, especially from a political point of view. If you're going to be putting this into, the whole economy, right? The whole, basically fabric of our nations, well, you want to be absolutely sure. And it looks like Florida isn't completely sold on it yet. They joined a long list of states to kill Bitcoin bills. Many states have abandoned the effort after bills had cleared early committees. So, it's interesting. We'll see how this all unfolds. But I'm crossing my fingers. It's either going to be really bad or really good, and I'm hoping really good. But I got a strange feeling in my gut, and it's not a good one. Publicly traded healthcare firm embraces XRP with crypto reserves. So this is going to be another trend that you're going to see, called Wellistics Health. A publicly traded healthcare infrastructure firm plans to accept payments in XRP and will add the token developed by Ripple Labs in its corporate treasury. And I think they got a 50 million equity line of credit. So again, this is all going to happen. Countries, you're going to see companies. It's going to be, like I said, the golden age is upon us. It's going to be a fun few years ahead. Also, Flare Network's total value lock surges 160% since USDT zero rollout, surpassing 120 million. And we do have the airdrop coming each month. I get it just holding Flare on Uphold. I get a certain amount of coins each month because they're still going through. I think there's another 10 months left of the airdrop. So essentially, if you just hold on Uphold, right, you hold Flare. It's one of the qualifying exchanges, and you just get this free money, essentially. You want to be careful with different scams and whatnot online, but Uphold's reputable and trustworthy. So, if you're not already holding Flare and getting those monthly airdrops, well, consider checking out Uphold. There'll be a link for it in the description as well, and it helps support the channel. Coinbase to acquire leading crypto derivatives platform Deribit for $2.9 billion with a B. That marks the biggest acquisition yet in the crypto industry. So the largest US-based crypto exchange, and the largest valued transaction at approximate 2.9 billion. So it's comprised of cash and company shares. Massive. These companies are just friggin' rolling in it, man. The amount of money that they're making off of crypto, and a lot of crypto is just created out of thin air, right? It's pretty crazy, and it's pretty hard to fathom. But judge tosses FTX claims against Tom Brady, Giselle, Steph Curry, and Kevin O'Leary. So of course, all of the people with money get abandoned, right? They get thrown out, and a lot of people, were in bed with FTX, but. You just got to be careful, right? You never know, right? Who would have thought that FTX would have been a complete fraud and Ponzi scheme? And, you got Tom Brady and Steph Curry, Kevin O'Leary, all of these big people pushing it, right? It just goes to show you that nothing's safe. And don't just, believe in something or turn a blind eye to something because big celebrities are endorsing it, right? Because they were getting paid millions and millions of dollars just to talk about it, right? That's all they cared about. Also, Meta Platforms in talks with crypto firms to deploy stablecoins, hires VP of product 3 years after Libra. So that wasn't a great turnout, obviously, but great to see that the whole world is coming, right? Facebook, Meta, it's going to hit every sector of our economy. Also, Riot Platform sells some of its Bitcoin holdings as mining constraints rise. So that's an interesting development. They sold Bitcoin to reduce the need to raise funds by issuing new shares, which would dilute ownership stakes. So I think people would have appreciated this over the alternative instead of diluting shares, but still a bit of a red flag here that they even needed to do that in the first place. Also, Bitcoin surpasses Amazon with 2.015 trillion market cap to become the 5th largest asset globally on May 8th, 2025. But again, when we have a level playing field and there's not this regulatory corruption, really, we'll see who who's on the top of the list when it's all said and done. But I think it's going to have a run for its money. Also, XRP and U.S. crypto reserve was not Trump's idea. Here's the truth. So there was a report suggesting that lobbyist Brian Ballard influenced Donald Trump to include XRP in the U.S. crypto strategic reserve. Trump maintains ties with Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse, making immediate removal of XRP unlikely. Despite political issues, XRP's market performance remains bullish, and there was talks that it might not get into the reserve until it hits a $500 billion market cap, which I think is very possible, like really any month now. It could happen in the next couple of months, where it sees a $500 billion market cap. But I think this is kind of, I'm not paying I'm not paying much attention to this at all. This is pretty stupid in my opinion. We know that Trump's all about America and made in America, manufacturing, bringing jobs back to America. XRP, the digital asset, was created by Bitcoin developers. We know who created it. It was created in the US. We know that Ripple was created after XRP. It's a company in Silicon Valley. It's an American company. So it just makes sense, right? And it's funny that we get lobbyists. We have a new, the Prime Minister in the new administration here in Canada, Mark Carney, came out of nowhere, worked for the Bank of Canada, Bank of England. He was also just like I said, came out of nowhere. We know he's very pro Ripple, very pro XRP, very globalistic, elitist, right? And part of that new world order, in my opinion. And a lot of these lobbyists and even Trump himself, I don't really think has much say in the matter. Like ultimately, the world's going where it's going to go. The whole world's a stage. This has been planned for decades, regardless of what one administration or one country or one person thinks. They will get what they want, right? The elites run the world, and it's gonna be a fun time. I think XRP and Ripple are going to be embedded in every part of every country and economy. So taking a look at Bitcoin dominance chart here on the monthly time frame, this is a good sign. Look at the absolute bloodbath that we've had here over the last couple of days, last few days actually, on Bitcoin dominance. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because of how important this is going to be for altcoins. Take a look at the monthly time frame here. The monthly RSI, if we just blow this up here, you can see anything 70 and above is considered overbought. We hit almost 72 on the RSI, and the dominance was almost at 66. It was 65.38% on Bitcoin dominance, and we're monthly overbought, so we're more than likely going to start monthly consolidation here. It could happen really any day now, and then we have no support down to 54% dominance, and I think it could even drop into the 40s, maybe even into the 30s here before the end of this cycle. And I think this is going to be a massive signal that altcoin season is going to be upon us. So once we start monthly consolidation, and if we lose 60%, watch for altcoins to absolutely go ballistic. And like I said, it's more than likely going to be tied to a bunch of ETFs passing for altcoins, and then crypto legislation and altcoins getting added to strategic reserves. And yeah, it's going to be sovereign wealth fund. It's going to be fun, folks. Just giddy up. All right, let me know what you think of this news. It's Rod with Power Group. Thanks again for joining us in the pursuit of wealth. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We'll see you on the next video.